Good afternoon, everyone. Phi Farley here. It's October 3rd. It is the one-game elimination for the American League. And we got a doozy of a game here. Oakland against New York. Very, very different than what we've seen thus far in these play-in games in the National League. Coming today with Oakland and New York. And I have a different take on it than we've seen with Chicago, Milwaukee, Dodgers, and the Rockies thus far. So I'm going to get into that here in just one second. First, though, let me say thanks to the subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, do so. Please check my picks throughout the playoffs. They've done well so far. You can check those out. All my picks are on here, as well as the whole rest of the baseball season. College football picks up. NFL football picks will be coming in as well. Feel free to check those out, but also subscribe to the channel so you can follow along throughout the season. All right, so before I get into my pick, I just want to just rant for just a quick second. Baseball extended their season to 162 games, 40 years ago. I don't understand why they play 162 games just to come down to a one-game playoff. Both of these teams legitimately have a shot at being World Series champions. It's unfortunate that 162 games later, that we go way into October, and we don't have the teams identified, so they have to do a pigtail play-in game. I get they want to expand the field, but expand the field, drop off the last week of the season, have at least a 3-game set between these teams so they can have a legitimate shot at showing their full scope of their team over a 3-game span. It'd be better if it was a 5-game span. I just think it's completely unjust, doesn't encapsulate baseball, which is starting rotations, opener rotations, but the full team day in, day out. Instead, you can have one pitcher, which we know a whole baseball season. You can have a pitcher have a great day. A rookie just called up from the minors has a great day trying to, perform well so he can land a spot in the starting rotation in the bigs and shut down a team. And that's what we're basing the entire season on, of 162 games. We may have a 100-game winner today be eliminated from the playoffs without a shot. They have a shot here in one game. But it just blows me away that it's counterproductive for what baseball stands for. You run a marathon, but all that matters is the 50-yard sprint at the end. So it's odd to me. Basketball, for crying out loud, over half the teams make the playoffs. I don't think they need that much, but they could probably throw in another team, or at least let this ride out 3 games to be more symbolic or more representative of the baseball season, not just one game. So anyway, enough of my rant. Back onto the game we have today. Oakland traveling over to New York. This is going to be a fantastic game. Now, one thing I want to point out that is very different than what we had in Colorado and the Dodgers, as well as Milwaukee and the Cubs. They're playing games as well as Colorado, then going to Chicago, is they had no time. That was the very next day. Dodgers played the Rockies. Very next day, the Cubs played the Brewers. So we had unders galore. We ended up with the Dodgers and the Rockies going, well, they hit 7. If you got it 7.5, it was under. They landed 5-2 for an under or a push. Milwaukee and the Cubs 3-1 hit the under. Then yesterday 1-1 at the end of regulation before going to extra innings, which ended up 2-1. Rockies over the Cubs. Cubs are now eliminated, which we had that under pegged. Well, today's a little bit different. And one of the reasons is we have rest. So these pitchers and these teams are able to get some rest. The offense is able to get some rest, travel over to New York, time to let jet lag go away, and now we can play some baseball. 2, we have different offenses here. If we look at the other teams, if you were to combine their runs scored, all of them fall under 300. Meanwhile, these two, their combined scores, Oakland and the Yankees, in the month of September have put in 317 runs. That's the most of any of the teams that are playing in these single elimination games have played. as well as their ERAs are higher than any team that has played. And kind of interesting to note, the National League teams, Milwaukee is the number 1 ERA in September, Dodgers number 4 team, Rockies number 5 team, Cubs number 6 team. Then we drop all the way to 14 for the Athletics, 15 for the Yankees at 3.99 and 4.05 respectively for the ERAs of the Athletics and the Yankees. Higher ERAs, more rest given, so we have a different dynamic coming into this game. Now that said, we also have a different total coming into this game. We have 8.5 as opposed to the 7.5 we were getting with the other games. All things said, I'm actually not going to go that angle with the total. If I had to take a total play here, it would be the over the 8.5. However, what I like better is taking the Athletics on the road money line. I think we're getting great value at $1.65 in a game that could be a toss-up. You could take $1.20 on the run line, and that's not a bad idea. I would just, for me, call it greed. Would rather take the $1.65 on my 100 versus just instead of laying a 125 to get the run and a half. But that's just me. So, and here's some of the reasons I like that. Severino, we know what's gone on with him. It's been not good from August on. July on. Anything after the All-Star break has not been good. 6.58 ERA, opponents hitting .324 in the month of July. August, a 4.86 ERA. Opponents hitting .274 in 33 innings. He had 37 hits given up, 18 runs. Not good whatsoever. September cooled down just a little bit, or he got back in his form. A 3.98 ERA, 20 innings, 20 hits, .250 batting average. If we flip over to the batting average of the Athletics against him, .271 average against him. Now, he also faced the Twins last year in an elimination game, to which the Yankees won. However, he didn't do well. Didn't get out of the first inning. They pulled him quickly. The Twins, I think, scored 2 runs on him, and they pulled him immediately. They have the short leash option today with Tanaka and Happ being able to come out of the bullpen. I personally believe those are better decisions. I would have a different outlook on this game if J.A. Happ was on the mound. Tanaka, I don't trust him at home. I wouldn't want Tanaka. I'd probably feel the same way as I do today with Tanaka. I like Severino at home. He does well at home, does better at home. However, if we break down his last, his last 4 or 5 games at home, it's not good. And I don't mean to be vague about that. We can look into the numbers. Against Boston, 6 hits in 7 innings, only 1 run given up, fair. Detroit Tigers, 6 hits in 6 innings. Again, I don't like that. 3 runs given up. They won the game 7-5. Before that was Toronto, 6 hits in 5 innings, 2 runs given up. 7 hits in 4 innings against the Mets. They lost that one. Kansas City, 8 hits in 4 1/3, 6 runs given up. These are all his last home outings, and that takes us all the way back into July. One thing I will note about his starts, check out the totals. 11, 11, 4, 10, 12, 8, 17, 13, 10. That takes us back to the beginning of August. A lot of overs, a lot of high totals there, regardless whether he starts or not. One reason, though, I'm not going to go with that is because of the option to go to J.A. Happ early in this game and just swap out the starting pitcher. Now, speaking of swapping out the early pitcher, we have Liam Hendriks going, the Australian, for the Athletics. The Yankees have hit him before. However, Hendriks has really fallen into form here in the last, down the stretch, September. Athletics have really, really excelled down the stretch, which is one reason why I like them today. When clutch needs to happen, much like the Rockies, they've come through. And the Yankees, on the other hand, have not. There's been, in the second half of the season, they have really fallen short in their overall. I think they're right about 500 if we broke down the last few months. I wish I had the numbers for you. But They're still knocking home runs, though, of which the Athletics are one of the best teams for slugging percentage against and giving up the home run. They're right at the top in the month of September, so I feel comfortable with that. What I really like here, though, is a $1.65 for taking the Athletics on the road to eliminate the Yankees, the 100-game winner, unfortunately, in this one-game playoff. So there you go. Give me the Athletics. Give me the $1.65. And if there's any prop bets or anything like that, I will take a look at that. I'll throw it down in the comments for you. I appreciate you chiming in on what you have tonight. Really interesting to which angle you take. But I wish everyone the best of luck, unless, of course, you're against me. But hey, mutual respect. All right, good luck, everyone. See you again soon.